Everything is plated up and ready to go. Mac and cheese, our vegetables, and our ribs with our barbecue sauce. We took some of those onions and laid them down on the bottom. It smells amazing in this house. I can't wait to dig in. I'd show you my wife's plate, but she's already eaten half of it. So, from Chef in Life and his wife, bon appetit. Good afternoon, everyone. What we're looking at here is a dry rub. We have got some Korean chili flakes, onion, garlic, cumin, dried mustard, salt, pepper, and some brown sugar. What we're going to be doing with these here in a little bit, once our ribs are patted dry, we're going to be using some country style pork ribs again, boneless. We are going to pat this on there, then we're going to wrap them in aluminum foil and let them sit in the fridge for a little bit before we start baking them. Can't wait to get this started. Okay, everybody, welcome back. What we got right now is we've got one of our ribs. You can see it's a nice cut, nice marbling here. We're going to dry this off nicely here. Get rid of all that dampness as much as we can. And what we're going to do from here is we're going to move it over to our aluminum foil. Okay. Wipe up some of that mess there. Get that in there. Okay, next what we're going to do is take some of that seasoning we've got earlier, or we made up earlier, and we're going to take that and we're going to put it on our rib. I'm going to put it on there nice. I know I'm dipping my hand back in here, but I plan on using all of this, so it won't be saved for later, so it's not going to be any loss. Pack that on there nicely. Then we're going to take this side, roll it over, get that on there. I'm going to pack that in there nicely as well. Get it all nice and seasoned up. Make sure we've got it really packed in everywhere. There is no such thing as over seasoning when it comes to this, in my opinion, especially when you have the right rubs. If you're just over seasoning with salts, peppers, whatnot, you can have a problem there. But if you've got a good seasoning, you really want to get that flavor in everything you can. This is one of our bigger ribs, so we're going to make sure we've got it packed nice and tight in there. Look at that. We don't want to forget any space. So we've got that done. I'm going to turn around. We're going to roll this up and package it tight in our aluminum foil. And we're going to put it in the fridge. I'm going to do this with the other ones. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch that step by step, but we'll wrap the other ones up the same. And we're going to let them set for a few hours, and then they're going to go in the oven on a really slow roast. Welcome back to Voodoo Culinary Kitchen. You're looking at our ribs that we put our dry rub on yesterday, wrapped with some aluminum foil, and have let set for just about 20 hours in the fridge. What we're going to do with those next is we're going to take them and put them in the oven. But what we're going to do first is put some beautiful onion on the bottom. What this is going to do, it's not only going to add some flavor as they slowly roast, it'll crisp these up. We can serve them on the side. It will also make sure that we maintain moisture in them as we cook. It's going to smell amazing in this house. Just unwrapping with the seasonings we had, and this beautiful onion is already smelling good now. Okay, we've got those beautiful ribs laid down on our onions. What we're going to do is put some aluminum foil over the top. We're going to roast them at about 350 for about 3 to 4 hours till they're nice and tender. And then we will pull them out. I'll put them in one of my cast iron skillets, and we will just crisp up the outside. Got these buttes from across the street at the farmer's market. What I've already done is prep them, clean them with our home vegetable cleaning that we make here. Sliced them up nice, got a good thickness on them. Get everything prepped ahead of time, always easier. So when the ribs are done, I can throw these in the roaster real quick. They won't take long at all. I'm just gonna probably simply season them with some avocado oil, salt, and pepper, just to keep it simple. This is one of the 2 sides we're creating for tonight's meal. The other one will be coming up shortly. Okay, what we're looking at here is some elbow macaroni. We are going to do a macaroni and cheese homemade as our second side dish to our ribs tonight. So what I'm going to do is just them in the Instapot real quick to have them ready, so when I get ready to do my other steps for my mac and cheese, they'll be all ready. For our liquid, we're going to use some of my homemade vegetable stock, about 2 cups, just to cover and go in with the elbow macaroni, and we'll throw it in the Instant Pot. It'll be done quick, and then it'll be ready for our next steps on the mac and cheese. Welcome back to Voodoo Culinary Kitchen. What we're looking at here is 2 blocks of extra sharp white cheddar. This brand of cheese is absolutely amazing. I was surprised. I'm very picky on my cheeses. It's Good and Gather. I call it Good and Gather because I like the name of it that way better. But you can buy it at Target. It's really inexpensive, but it is some damn good cheese. What we're going to do is shred this up for our macaroni and cheese. Like I said, if you have the opportunity and ability to, try to always freshly shred your cheese when you're making, especially mac and cheese, because there's anti-caking elements in pre-shredded stuff. So this will make your mac and cheese just that much smoother. Okay, welcome back. What we're doing here is we are going to go ahead and make our roux. As you can see, I've got that butter nice and melted in there. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of flour. We're going to be whisking that together to create, like I said, our roux for our cheese, for our mac and cheese. Maybe a little bit much flour, but we'll get that all whisked together and we'll adjust as needed. Get that in there. Start mixing it together like that. Now, what we're going to try to do is get this to a little bit darker of a caramelized roux, just to add a little bit more flavor. This will help with the smoothness in our mac and cheese. One of the things to make your mac and cheese stay creamy as well after your roux is do not put more noodles in than you have cheese sauce. I know that sounds crazy, but if your mac and cheese is drying out, it's because you have too many noodles and not enough cheese sauce. You need extra. So when you put it in the oven to bake it a little bit, cover it, maybe put a little bit extra, half and half, heavy cream, sour cream. That's what I'm going to do with mine, is put some extra sour cream in there. And then that'll help that creaminess in your mac and cheese. So as you can see, that roux is coming together very, very nicely. And we're doing it again in my crock pot, stock pot, whatever you want to call it. It's actually an IQ, but my wife got it for me. I absolutely love this thing. So we're going to let this caramelize a little bit more. And then when it gets to where we want it color-wise, we can add our milk to it. Now, the thing about a roux is this is the basis, like I've said, for a lot of cooking in Louisiana, whether you're looking at Creole, whether you're looking at just a lot of your etouffees, your gumbo, stuff like that. You can get darker colors as you go for different flavors, different things you need to do with your roux. But I'm getting it about where I want. See how it's starting to darken a little bit down there? We're going to add some milk here, a little bit at a time, and we're going to stir it just a little bit at a time. We don't want to overdo it. So I got 2 cups of whole milk here. We're going to pour that in. Keep whisking as you put it in. See a lot of little of that yumminess of the butter that's stuck at the bottom. That's going to be good stuff. It'll just add extra flavor to it. So we're going to mix this up nice, and you have to keep mixing. You do not want this to get lumpy on you. But once you learn how to make a good roux, the possibilities of creation are endless. Roux, of course, is a French term. It's the beginning of almost every sauce. And the thing about the French, one thing they do is it's not that they use a lot of ingredients that makes their stuff so good. It's minimal ingredients done well. So that's one thing to remember, especially if you want to get into French cooking. I'm not a trained chef. I didn't go to culinary school for it. I do this through trial and error, through learning, working with my mom, working with my aunts through my lifetime, and doing it as I go myself. I love being self-taught. I have people that look down on me because I claim to be a chef, but I'm not classically trained. Well, I believe when you get classically trained, sometimes you lose the focus of the food and you stop learning because you think you know everything. This way, I just keep going, keep doing, keep learning more and more. That's why I love to create so many dishes from around the world. I like to challenge myself. I really enjoy challenging myself. And that's how you should be in the kitchen, I believe, is always challenging yourself. I've had so many recipes, even my spaghetti sauce, that everybody's like, oh, this is good. I'm like, it's not good enough for me. I want to retry and redo. So I would scrap my recipe from before. Maybe I'd keep some things. I would add different things. And I finally got my spaghetti sauce to where I really enjoy it. But I'm still always trying to improve upon that. Now, as you can see, our sauce is really starting to thicken up down there. And as I keep going in, just a little bit at a time, whisk it. You have to be very patient with it. Roux is simple, but it also is kind of a dick if you do it wrong. So you just keep getting everything mixed in there. And like I said, by a little bit at a time, you make sure you keep it smooth, because that's what you want your mac and cheese to be. That's my cat in the background. I'm sure in a lot of videos you hear him. He thinks he needs to eat every 5 minutes. So this is probably his way of knowing I'm recording, and he can try to get sympathy. But trust me, he's fed well. Probably too well. Okay, we're stirring it and stirring it, stirring it. What I'm going to end up doing is adding a little bit more milk to this. I got 2 cups in there now. I want about 4 cups. And then I'm going to start adding my cheese here in a little bit. Welcome back, everybody. We've added about 8 cups of milk in here. I did 2 cups of macaroni and cheese, so about 8 to 12 cups of milk should be just enough to have excess. Because remember, we're going to put it in the oven. Let me adjust my camera here a little bit. And as we bake it in the oven a little bit, those noodles are still going to expand and absorb more. So you want, again, to be over the top a little bit and to have that added flavor. I'm going to put the sour cream in on top to help that kind of melt down in. Now, with my roux, I'm not going to add any extra salt to it. The cheese is going to have a lot of salt. My wife is a little bit sensitive to salt lately. I think it's because she's from the South, and no insult to everybody, but the South, sometimes your flavors, taste buds are a little bit different than they are in the North. But I've learned to adapt. She's laughing in the background, by the way. So I'm just going to add some of my 3 pepper to it, or my trace pepper, or however the hell you want to say it. My red, my white, and my black. I'm going to put that in my roux, and we're going to just add that extra flavor there. Takes a little bit, but you know what? This fresh cracked is just the best in the world. And then what we'll do after we do this is add a little bit of our cheese, let that melt, and then like our milk, we'll add it in slowly. Now, another thing with your mac and cheese, you can add garlic, you can add smoked paprika, you can add whatever flavors you want to it. But because I've got so many other flavors in my ribs, and it's going to be on our squash and zucchini that I'm going to roast, I want everything to come together, but I don't want everything tasting the same. So, pardon me. We'll add this another pepper here. I think that should be about enough. Now, she doesn't like salt, but she loves pepper. So we're going to mix that in there. She's laughing in the background again. She also reminded me that I had done before we moved up here to Connecticut, we can't wait to get back to Texas, by the way, is we lived in Texas, and she worked with an individual that was from southern Louisiana and was missing gumbo. So he asked my wife if I could make him some, and I did. And he came back and said, probably the most mortal of sins, that's why I'll never say his name online, that my gumbo was better than his father's, which I took as a huge compliment, because when you cook something culturally like that somebody knows, and you do a good job on it and you get feedback like that, it's awesome. It's amazing. It feels good. It goes to show you that, again, you don't need to be classically trained to cook. You can just do it because you enjoy it and learn as you go. And especially today with things like AI, we have so much access to learn that there's not a dish in this world you can't learn to do or do for somebody else. It's just the fun in doing it. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of handful of our cheese that we freshly shredded. We're going to drop it right down in there. I got a good handful. My hand's a little bit bigger, so my handful is going to be different from everybody else's. We're going to stir that in. We're going to let that melt completely. This is going to thicken up a little bit, of course. Plus, you've got your flour in there, so it's a little bit thicker anyways. Then what we'll do here in a little bit is we'll lay our noodles down. We've pre-cooked in some of that vegetable broth that I created. And then we'll start pouring our cheese on, mixing it in there. Put some sour cream on top of it. Like, again, you can do cream cheese, you can do some extra milk, half and half, heavy cream, whatever you want. But I want to do sour cream just because, just a different flavor I enjoy in it. We'll lay that across the top and maybe mix it a little bit in, and then we'll bake it. Okay, we've got our panko breading on top. We're going to throw this in the oven here in a minute and bake it up nice. Decided at the last minute I'd whip up a quick barbecue sauce to go with our ribs. What I did is it's ketchup base. We've got some honey. Trying to think what else. Apple cider vinegar. I put some of my vegetable stock in to help thin it out a little bit. Plus I put 2 tablespoons of my dry rub that I made for the pork ribs in here as well. And then what else did I add to that? Oh, I added some Hoosier Sister sauce to it. So we're going to stir this and let it cook slowly for about 20 to 30 minutes. That'll give us time to finish everything else up for the meal. Okay, what you're looking at here is our zucchini and squash we cut up earlier. I decided to add a little bit of smoked paprika, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Did some avocado oil, and I believe a little bit of garlic powder in there, just to add a different depth to the flavors. Can't wait to get these in the oven and start roasting them.